Have you ever noticed a sudden change in an elderly loved one and wonder what it meant? Maybe they stopped enjoying their favorite meals, or their once bright eyes seemed distant. What if I told you that the body gives subtle yet powerful signs when someone is approaching the final stage of life? Most people miss these signs until it's too late. But today, we are going to uncover 5 crucial indicators that elderly individuals often show up to a year before they pass away. Recognizing these signs early can help us provide better care, ensure their comfort, and cherish the time we have left with them. I remember visiting my grandmother a year before she passed. At first, the changes were subtle. She would forget small things, laugh less, and often stare into space as if lost in deep thought. At the time, I dismissed it as just old age. But looking back, I now understand those were early signs that her body was preparing for a transition. If only I had known, I would spend more time with her, asked more questions, and made her final months even more meaningful. This is why understanding these signs is so important, not just for medical reasons, but for emotional and human reasons. Let us get into the 5 key signs that can indicate an elderly person is in their last year of life. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I encourage you to click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated with our latest content. Also, don't forget to like and share this video. Let's get into it. Sign 1. Unexplained weight loss and loss of appetite. It starts subtly. The person who once loved home-cooked meals barely finishes a plate. You may notice their clothes looking looser, their face becoming more gaunt. The body, in its wisdom, begins to slow down. The digestive system weakens, metabolism decreases, and the body gradually stops craving food like it once did. I recall an elderly patient who once enjoyed rich, flavorful meals. Over a few months, she began pushing food away, saying, "I am just not hungry." Her weight dropped significantly, and even her favorite treats no longer brought her joy. This was not just about food. It was a sign that her body was conserving energy for the inevitable. As elderly individuals approach the final stage of life, their body's ability to process food changes dramatically. Their taste buds may dull, making even their favorite meals seem bland or unappetizing. They might experience difficulty chewing or swallowing, and in some cases, the mere act of eating can feel exhausting. The body's energy demands shift away from digestion, focusing instead on essential functions. This shift often leads to an overall decline in food intake, leaving family members worried and confused. For caregivers and loved ones, watching someone they care about refuse meals can be emotionally painful. It is natural to want to encourage them to eat, to keep their strength up, to maintain a sense of normalcy. But forcing food on someone who no longer desires it can cause more distress than good. Instead, it is more beneficial to offer smaller portions of easy-to-digest foods. Smoothies, broths, or even tiny bites of their favorite comfort foods can sometimes bring more joy than large meals. Hydration becomes another crucial factor. Many elderly individuals not only eat less, but also drink less. Dehydration can set in quickly, leading to increased fatigue, confusion, and weakness. Offering sips of water, herbal teas, or electrolyte drinks throughout the day can help maintain comfort. The psychological impact of appetite loss is another aspect to consider. Eating is often a social activity, tied to family traditions and fond memories. When an elderly person starts eating less, they may also withdraw from family dinners or gatherings. This can create a sense of separation and loss long before their passing. Encouraging shared meal times, even if they eat only a little, can help maintain emotional connections during this stage. Ultimately, a noticeable and consistent decline in appetite is one of the most telling signs that the body is preparing for its final transition. Recognizing this allows loved ones to shift their focus from trying to prolong life at all costs to ensuring comfort, dignity, and quality time in the days ahead. Sign 2. Increased fatigue and sleeping more. Have you ever noticed an elderly loved one sleeping more than usual? It is not just regular tiredness. It is the body naturally slowing down. The heart works less efficiently, oxygen levels drop, and simple tasks become exhausting. One man I met, a World War II veteran, was once full of energy, sharing stories of his youth with such enthusiasm. But 1 year before he passed, he started sleeping more, often dozing off mid-conversation. His body was conserving energy, focusing on sustaining essential functions rather than daily activities. As people approach the end of life, their bodies prioritize essential functions over movement, activity, and wakefulness. The energy required to engage in conversations, walk, or even sit up for extended periods becomes too much to sustain. This is why they begin to sleep for longer durations, gradually becoming less responsive to the world around them. This type of exhaustion is not just physical. It is also neurological. The brain experiences a decline in oxygen and nutrient delivery, which can result in prolonged periods of drowsiness or even moments of unresponsiveness. Family members often notice their loved ones sleeping through meals, struggling to stay awake during visits, or showing reduced interest in once beloved activities. Caregivers may feel concerned or even helpless when they see their elderly loved ones withdrawing into more sleep. The key is to respect their body's need for rest while ensuring they are comfortable, instead of trying to keep them awake or engaging them in activities beyond their ability. Simply being present, holding their hand, speaking softly, or playing calming music can be incredibly soothing. One woman shared how she used to sit beside her mother as she napped, reading her favorite poetry aloud. Even though her mother was barely responsive, there were moments when she would squeeze her daughter's hand, offering a silent but profound connection. These small gestures can mean everything in the final months of life. It is also important to recognize that increased sleep can be a sign of emotional preparation. Some elderly individuals begin detaching from daily life, retreating inward as they process their final stage. This is a natural and personal journey, and our role is to offer love, patience, and understanding during this time. If you notice a loved one sleeping significantly more, it is not necessarily a cause for panic. It is the body's way of reserving its energy, shifting focus from the external world to its own internal processes. The best thing we can do is create a peaceful environment where they feel safe, loved, and at ease. Sign 3. Social withdrawal and emotional changes. Something shifts in the way they interact. They may talk less, withdraw from family gatherings, or seem lost in thought. It is as if they are mentally detaching from the world around them. A woman I once cared for, a lively grandmother who used to tell the most beautiful bedtime stories, started isolating herself. She spent hours staring out the window, lost in memories. When I asked her about it, she simply smiled and said, "I am just thinking about the past." It was as if she was slowly transitioning, mentally preparing for what lay ahead. As elderly individuals near the final stage of life, they often begin withdrawing from their usual social interactions. This can manifest as avoiding conversations, not responding as much to family members, or losing interest in activities they once enjoyed. While this may appear to be depression or disinterest, it is often a natural psychological shift where they start focusing inward rather than outward. One reason for this withdrawal is the body's diminishing energy levels. Engaging in social interactions requires mental and physical effort, and as energy reserves decline, elderly individuals may find it overwhelming to participate in long conversations or family gatherings. It is not that they no longer care. It is simply that they no longer have the strength to keep up. Another reason is emotional preparation. Many elderly individuals begin reflecting on their lives, past experiences, and the people they have loved and lost. They may spend more time reminiscing, looking at old photographs, or recalling childhood memories. It is as if their mind is sorting through a lifetime of experiences, finding closure and making peace with their journey. This withdrawal can be difficult for family members who may feel like their loved one is giving up or losing interest in them. It is important to understand that this shift is not about rejection. It is about internal reflection. Instead of forcing them into social situations, creating a peaceful environment where they feel comfortable expressing themselves can be much more valuable. Sitting beside them, listening to their stories, and allowing them to share their thoughts at their own pace can provide a deep sense of connection. Additionally, some elderly individuals may begin speaking about deceased loved ones more frequently. They may mention seeing or feeling the presence of those who have passed away, which can be a sign of their subconscious preparing for transition. While this may seem unusual, it is a common experience in those approaching the end of life. The best approach when an elderly loved one starts withdrawing is to simply be present. Do not push them to engage beyond their comfort level. Instead, let them guide the interaction. A gentle conversation, a quiet walk, or just sitting together in silence can mean more than words ever could. This stage is a reminder that, while physical presence is important, emotional presence matters even more. Offering love, patience, and understanding during this time can bring comfort to both the individual and their loved ones. Sign 4. Increased confusion and cognitive decline. One of the more heartbreaking signs that an elderly person is in their final year of life is an increase in confusion, forgetfulness, and cognitive decline. Family members may notice their loved ones struggling to recall names, losing track of time, or even getting lost in familiar places. While some cognitive changes are a normal part of aging, a sudden or progressive decline in mental clarity can be an indication that the body and mind are preparing for the final stage of life. This confusion often comes in waves. Some days, they may seem perfectly lucid, engaging in meaningful conversations, while on other days, they might appear dazed, repeating the same questions or staring into space. This fluctuation can be distressing for both the elderly person and their family members, leading to moments of frustration and sadness. A close friend of mine experienced this with her grandfather. A year before he passed, he began forgetting where he placed everyday items, like his glasses or his wallet. Then, he started calling her by his sister's name, who had passed away decades ago. At first, they thought it was just simple forgetfulness, but soon, he began confusing night with day, asking for meals at odd hours, and occasionally believing he was back in his childhood home. It became clear that something deeper was happening. One of the reasons for this cognitive decline is the reduced flow of oxygen and nutrients to the brain. As the body begins prioritizing essential functions, brain activity can slow down, leading to moments of disorientation. Additionally, underlying medical conditions such as mini strokes, infections, or even medication side effects can accelerate this process. Beyond memory loss, elderly individuals may also experience hallucinations or delusions. They may see people who are not there, talk about deceased loved ones as if they are in a room, or believe they are in a different time or place. While this can be unsettling for caregivers, it is important to respond with patience and reassurance rather than correction. Correcting them can sometimes cause distress, while gently going along with their reality can offer them comfort. To support an elderly loved one experiencing cognitive decline, caregivers can take steps such as creating a structured daily routine, reducing clutter and distractions in their environment, and speaking in a calm and reassuring manner. Using simple phrases, keeping a consistent schedule, and offering visual cues, like labeling doors or keeping a clock with large numbers, can help them feel more secure. Perhaps one of the most meaningful things we can do is to remind them they are loved. Even if they forget names or faces, the warmth of a familiar voice, the comfort of a gentle touch, and the presence of loved ones can provide immense reassurance. Cognitive decline is not just about losing memories. It is about the brain gradually letting go. Recognizing this shift allows families to cherish their moments together, embracing the time they have left with understanding and compassion. Sign 5. Subtle changes in breathing and vital signs. One of the final, yet most telling signs, is a shift in breathing patterns. You may notice shallow breaths, longer pauses between inhales, or even moments where they seem to stop breathing for a few seconds before gasping again. A nurse once told me about a patient who experienced this in his last months. His breathing became irregular, and sometimes he would sigh deeply, almost as if releasing something within him. It was a sign that his body was gradually shutting down. This stage can be unsettling, but understanding that it is a natural process can help us be there with love and compassion. If you have noticed any of these signs in a loved one, let this be your reminder to hold their hand a little longer, share another story, and make their remaining time as meaningful as possible. Because at the end of the day, life is not just about counting days. It is about making those days count. If this video has helped you, then I recommend you click the subscribe button to stay updated with our latest content. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.